homosexual go, sweetie, yes, it's been coming at you since you were a baby. This is the problem of this. That's the spiritual level that we've been operating on. By the way, if you study Hinduism, we're coming out. I think we're coming out of Kali Yuga, and we're going into the Golden Age. I think we're at that precipice moment. We've been in a very dark age. But it's been dark, and it's still dark. It's not there yet. So, yes, it's hell. It's hell because we made it hell, sweetie. All this earth, all these humans, with their lack of evolution, we made it hell. But guess what? We can also make it heaven, sweets. And that's what I think you and I, and Lila, and many others are destined to do, is usher in a new way of looking at the world. One that it's not all about money. Money. Give me a break. Trees, inked and marked, and that's what matters. Come on. We can go deeper than that, and you know it. So hang in there. I think good things are on the horizon. I think you're going to love Bali. I told Lila to check out Sri Lanka because it's so cheap. You could get yourself a beautiful villa on the beach and go hang out with the elephants. You could get little baby elephants and put them in your backyard.
Ian, please.
I don't remember what I'm saying.
Just talk about how you're feeling.
My ability to express sound from such a deep emotional place, both through a specific instrument called the violin and through my vocals, is a gift. And my being duty has been, and I have felt my being duty to be, to help this planet and help the humanity evolve. Whether what I express is beautiful or not, which I cannot say. I don't know. And my sadness at times comes from how much the world has created an environment that shuts me out of the ability to fully express.
Mm-hmm.
So that my, and then if my limbs start hurting, or I have a phlegmy throat, or I have a bad day where I don't feel connected because the play was difficult, or I have somebody telling me that or identifying me in a certain way that is different from that perception of being a giver.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me sad, and it makes me sad in the deepest possible way, because I know that I'm a gift. I've said that on a film.
Mm-hmm.
They called I'm a blessed creature.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I'm good or bad or anything, that's not what I mean. But I have and it's why I'm so strict about not using amplification, because I don't want to cheat that gift. That gift is, it's important. It's important for humanity to have a model of goodness, a model of pure, deep, expressive truth. That never changes. That what always changes is my faith and trust that I will be able to.
That's what causes your depression. So you think you're going down a path in which you won't be able to accomplish that.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And it becomes true for you that you won't, and you failed. And
I failed. And to be called a beggar is also to be called a liar.
mm-hmm.
Because I don't present myself as a beggar. I give. I don't experience myself as ever being a beggar. There's not, and you know, in a comparison way, when I speak of other musicians, other performers, their desire is to put up a sign that says I da ba ba ba. I've never done that.
No.
I've always believed that, and there is a trust in that. There is a trust that whatever I need to continue doing this truth would always come. So it's when somebody says that and they don't speak a language where dialectic can occur, because for me that person's a beggar, and what they're doing is they're in need, and I have what that person's heart needs, and then they tell me that I'm a beggar, and they lower and spit at that.
Yeah. But then you take it in.
I take it in, but I'm also just like an innocent babe. Come on, baby.
Come on, baby.
And I can't, I think that one of the things that happened when I was 4 is that it broke down an ability for me to, I didn't have my innocent time. And so now I am just like this innocent, like I'm just like an open thing, open heart.
Yeah, and your practice now is you really have set everything up in which you have to trust.
Yeah, I did that. I did that on purpose.
You set it all up for yourself.
I did that on purpose, right? I see that.
Your
I'm
resistance.
getting it.
Yeah.
Meeting Miles and Galena was very helpful.
Yeah.
It was almost like superhero coming in at the right time to just say, you do have friends.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I want, I can use is I love you, Thoth, and I believe that you will achieve your being duty. I think that's no matter what happens, I think that's the best and the most helpful thing that I can hear.
We're walking to get breakfast and we look fabulous. See? See? He's doing well.
The last stop of the bus was Heaven. And then after that,
Permit to play in this square. Isn't that exciting? It's like not anything at all. Very rosy, my precious. Some fresh Bulgarian bread. So sweet. He was about to go out in his slippers. Oopsie.
I went out.
Oopsie.
When I did do that.
Look at this. We're at the river. Wow.
Look at how pretty that is.
So pretty. Look at that. Really pretty. That's where our home is. How sweet. That's pretty. He gets dressed and he gets on his skimpy and then he puts back on his skimpy and then he doesn't get dressed to go in. And I say, time to go get food, and he goes, okay, I'm gonna get dressed now. It's funny.
So funny light.
Yes. The door, and there he is. It's the beauty. My one, the one I love. He's so pretty. He's so pretty. Yes, love. This is such a cute little place right around the corner from the house. So cute. These women over here, they're so sweet. Look at them. Aww. They're so sweet. They talk to us. They asked us where we were from, and they said we're really sweet or something. I don't know.
Oh, look at this sweetie pie.
Oh.
Oh my.
If you can find it.
Amazing.
It's so
How do I
clever.
find it? That's amazing.
It's not very good. It says that he bullied you and
Bullied
abused
us.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Like a
So, so these people that work here, they've been getting to know us for a while, and when I came to see them, they said that that the post that I made of us being attacked has gone all over social media in Bulgaria, and it's reached a lot of people. And it's just shocking to me. It's just amazing to me. Very touching. And Donio said that the other day. He said, I thought you guys kind of blew up online a bit. And I didn't know that's what has happened. Of course I wouldn't know because I don't speak Bulgarian.
Feel great.
talk about what happened when you had your breakdown the other night.
Is it working already?
Yes, it's working. I want to talk about what that experience was like for you first. Tell me what happened.
When did that happen?
Like 3 nights ago.
I think that you don't have to continue doing that.
Okay.
That's pretty funny. I was getting more and more scared. I think I was getting more and more scared because I was feeling my feelings more and more. As it was getting, by not talking about it, they were brewing really heavily. Until, and the notion of my not trusting you and having that flung in my face became very much what I was looking at, and so, I mean, I can't say I don't trust. I just feel that what happens is that I just get into a fear space, and then I can't get myself out of knowing where I am, because I don't know where I am. But mostly what happened was that this guy saying what he said to me and approaching me with such hostility at a time of such ecstatic, energetic fulfillment, it injured me more than I had thought it did. And we don't think that way in life, in our human life. We think of injury as almost as a objective. It hurts. But there are other things that are occurring in the being that are even more complicated. And his treatment of me was very similar to when I was a child, and my family would travel somewhere in New York, considered one of the most liberal or most open areas in the world right now. But at that time, it was before the Civil Rights Movement. Martin Luther King was doing his work, and we were basically we were very involved with his work. So it was always feeling the rage of people towards us. They raged at, and the rage that they were showing were towards my parents, because they hated to see a black and white person in love together, in union. They considered that was destroying the notion of family. And so I took it on. I felt that rage at too young an age, and I took that on, and I believed that it was my fault that this was happening. I believed that they were raging because I existed. And so I became a very self-hating person from even that point. I can't say that exact point, but that there was no way of me to understand what was going on. So this thing that people were doing, throwing things at us, cursing us, calling us names, was very intense, and very similar to what happened when this man called me names and had the same rage in him towards me. Mm-hmm. Me, but mostly me, because I had just done a lot of energy, and it scared him. So.
And you were dressed.
And I was dressed in my favorite dress.
And bralette.
In my bralette. I didn't even have makeup on.
No?
It was very tame.
Not really.
So it came out of nowhere, and it came out of a place of ecstasy. And it's very similar to feeling people raging at me when I was a kid, and this person raging at me that when I was just finished my ecstatic expression. And they connected. And at first I didn't know they connected. I didn't even, I always think that I've done the work. I've always thought I've looked into self and found the hurt feelings, and I've done a lot of work to express that hurt in the world. But there was still more work to be done, and so when the nitty-gritty happened and we were embroiled and you were trying to get me to speak, which I wasn't.
When was this?
It was that crying night.
When you were really depressed
Mm-hmm.
the other day.
That the connection between the two became clear. And it didn't unravel yet. It became real. I knew that there was something more happening. There was more pain here than I had thought. And that's the way to release pain and hurt, is to acknowledge it, to see it. Because if you don't see it and acknowledge it, then it can seep around your body parts and hide in your bones and in your belly or your something. And so it became a release. Once I started crying for about 2 days. Miles came over. Then we met Elena, and her stories. Well, everybody's stories really just helped me release my own sadness and hurt feelings. And I just started crying a lot, and that was helpful. And I'm feeling better.
Yeah. So good.
I had a beautiful singing session just an hour ago, and that was very relaxed and lovely.
Just playing right downstairs. No struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's always a struggle. There's always a feeling that I'm bothering somebody, though.
I think that, I don't know if that will ever leave you.
Yeah. It will leave me when I get a full green light in an environment.
Yeah, right. I'm all tense.
I like holding my thumb like this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm going to say what happened from my perspective, how it felt for me. Do you have anything more about that you want to say?
I guess not.
So he was really depressed for like a week or so after this man attacked us. And it wasn't directly from this man attacking us. He was in Afterglow when this performance happened. When he did that performance and afterwards, when that man verbally harassed him and me, he was in this ecstatic afterglow state that he gets into after he has seizures and episodes and everything. So he was in that state, and then this man attacking him really kind of seemed to like sink him into this darker space. But then he has this thing that we call the crash, in which he gets extremely depressed. He goes from being very high in the afterglow to crashing, and the crash lasts about 4 or 5 days or something. So he was in the middle of that crash, but also really depressed, and I don't think he could really correlate those two things, that you were also depressed because of what happened. You weren't.
I didn't know what was going on really.
Yeah, you really weren't. You didn't understand what was, and nor did I. So I didn't really put those two together. I just thought he was in this crash state. So I was just feeling very lonely. I was feeling very isolated because the spaces we live in tend to be kind of small and humble, and it's just the two of us. But this space is particularly small and humble, and we can't get away from each other. So, and nor do I want to, but when we're in a confined space like this, I feel his feelings very deeply, and I do no matter what. So I was really feeling your feelings, and you weren't talking to me for days, many, many days, and it was just felt like pulling teeth anytime I wanted you to say something, and I wanted you to say how you were feeling, mostly. And then we had a conversation in the middle of the day, that day that he had the breakdown, and I asked him, I really wanted to know what he was feeling, and it got down into, well, do you trust me? And he couldn't really answer me, we both realized that it really came down to trust, and if he could really trust what he was feeling and really trust
Anything.
me or trust anything. So that happened, and then the depression just continued on for the rest of the day, and I was trying to figure out how to get us food, and he didn't seem to care much about that, and I just broke down. I sat down on the bed, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. You have to find a way to be happy. If you continue on like this, we're just going to be miserable wandering through the world. And from my perspective, it really triggered him, that me just speaking what reality was, what was really happening, and saying, you have to find a way out of this, otherwise I'm not going to leave you, but we're just going to be unhappy forever. And from what I saw, it was just he started to hyperventilate and get so sad, and then he was rocking back and forth in the bed, saying, I'm terrible, I'm bad, I'm ruining your life. I've been ruining your life ever since I met you. And of course, I was just petting him and saying, no, honey, no, that's not true. You're beautiful and good, and I love you. It's just you have to let go of this pain, and you have to let go of this stuff, and it's not serving you. You have to let go. And then he started really getting into. I think this man triggered me way more deeply than I thought. So it was really cathartic for both of us to go through that, and he really having to face some really dark demons. And then these people came and brought us to Sofia, which was incredible, and we got to meet some allies. And then now we're seeing that the video that I shared is going viral in Bulgaria. How does that feel? How does the difference between how you felt earlier, the change of it feels?
I'm not so involved with the internet anymore, so it's just I hear about it, and so it's kind of interesting to hear that this is happening. I find that that I'm really understanding that that this person who showed me so much hate was an initiator, and I was able to forgive him very easily because I understood that he then had taken on this role of really showing me that my pain and my feelings of rejection, my hurt that this world has given me since being born because of my nature, was still hurting me. And it makes me feel amazed that I could turn what is such a rejectionary message into something so loving as what my art is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, majorly. And I think that's what the work is all about, is transmuting hate and pain and dark feelings and all that into a loving, beautiful expression.
I think that is what it is. And it reminds me of what I'm doing. And then I started speaking about my being duty again, because I realized that the trust that I was feeling, that I was in such darkness about, was I felt like my being duty was cut off from me, that I wasn't going to accomplish my being duty. Being duty is a Jungian construct, and it's in reference to what we all have in us, is this absolute, almost divine destiny because of our talents and our gifts. And I know what my gift and talent is, and I live it in devotion like a monk. And so it really reiterated that and uplifted it again, and reminded me, being duty, that, oh, that's right, this is my special word. I've been using this word since I was a teenager, since I met the Jungian ideas. So it was very helpful. I don't remember where it's going.
You were reminded that you were.
I remember. Yes, my trust problem was I don't trust that I wasn't trusting that I would accomplish my being duty, and that made my whole life empty and worthless,
Mm-hmm.
and in a sense bad. Because that's what is it for then? It's bad.
That you're bad, that you failed or something.
Failed.
That was where the depression came in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. I can't turn away from that. I can't go, oh, I'm not getting older, but I am getting older. I can feel it, and the acceptance of that is difficult, because that's part of it too.
Yeah. And how much our lives have changed, that it's not a 5-day-a-week grind anymore.
Yeah, I can't grind it 5 days a week.
No, and you can't, and nor can I, even though I'm half your age. I just don't have the capacity.
Also, the world is not receiving our art.
No, and those two things, the crash, the attack, and the fact that when we go out to try and play anymore, it's just depressing.
And going out to play and in an ecstatic state and feeling so with such an expression that was so exhilarating, so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only person who talked to me after that was a person who basically cursed me out and threatened me for doing it and all sorts of things.
Told you to get out of the country.
Not necessarily.
No, that's not something that feels very good.
That's not very supportive.
And it reminds me of the story you wrote of, like, you just recently wrote a statement for the pro bono lawyer that came on Instagram and has offered to help us with this case.
The lawyer came on Instagram.
Yeah. And you wrote a statement for him describing your excitement about how excited you were to go and play in a spot, and how you did your whole ceremony and had your costume and your makeup and your whole thing that you do, and that you were so excited to play. And then when people were there watching, it made you even more excited, and you were just ecstatically like orgasming and singing and this whole thing. And then the attack was just so deflating towards that experience, and it reminded me of the story that you wrote when you did the Academy Awards. It's the same thing.
It's the same
exact same thing.
I have a few of those stories. The Academy Awards, I didn't feel that clearly. I think that got deflected because it was such a, even though the guards were trying to stop me and all sorts of things, winning the award kind of deflected the hurt feelings that happened from when I tried to sing and dance around the red carpet.
Yeah.
And that was hard. Another rejection, and it's the same, and it has that same basic formula. Not we don't like you.
Yeah, go away.
Go
We
away.
don't like you, and that goes into the other thing that I wanted to talk about, that the difference that we have in our ways of perceiving playing and life, and
You and I?
yeah,
Oh.
they're both very different. That my way is, I've been doing this for 15 years with him, playing in public and trying to survive and doing that whole thing, and feeling rejected by the world a lot of the time, and being stopped and being harassed by park rangers and police and people and guards and all sorts of things, just things getting in our way all the time, and it being a miracle if we can play in peace and nobody bothers us. When I was a child, for me, I was told in all sorts of ways that I was just going to be famous, that I was just going to be given everything, because I always could sing this way. I was always a performer. I was always just very skilled, naturally skilled at singing and all of this. I always had a very special gift. And so everyone around me made me believe that I would just easily become this beloved thing in the world of singing and music. And I was raised that way. I was like weaned on that. And then I went out into the world, and I was with Thoth for all this time, doing this thing in public and grinding away and dealing with all these things happening and being stopped all the time. And it really has kind of grounded me down over the years and made me I'm still very open. I'm much more trusting than Thoth is. I give people the benefit of the doubt all the time. When people come forward and say, "Oh, I want to help you guys. I want to make you be a manager or something." But it's caused me to. I'm not so mystical about things anymore. I don't get excited anymore when we play. I really don't. Even when it's a big opportunity. When, like the other day when we got to play in the theater space, in that open space, I wasn't excited because I was like,
that wasn't exciting to me either. It was more just ready for somebody to stop us.
Yeah, and the God came down, and I was expecting him to stop us, and he didn't. That was surprising. That made me feel a little bit better. But I'm always so prepared to be stopped that my ability to be excited is really diminished, and I've become much more practical. I probably have always been that way, but much more practical and logical, and focused on making sure we're safe and we have enough money to pay for things that we need, and arranging our life and traveling and all of that. I'm very focused on that and taking care of him. And you're different from me in that way. How are you different?
I'm kind of a hopeful kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a dreamer.
Yeah.
And that's also when I get sad how things break down from that place. So there's no dreams anymore, and so that's that part of our mechanism is at a standstill, which of course can be felt. But yeah, my heart beats wildly when I'm about to play at a place which has welcomed us in, to the point where I could very easily have a heart attack in that condition one of these days. It's very. I perceive things as mythic archetypes. Very much perceive us as a mythic archetype of the romantic, couple at this time, modeling true romantic and loving relationship. And so I can see that as something extremely necessary for all beings, because all beings deserve to be in a romantic and loving relationship. I am very hopeful. As many times as I've been stopped, America's Got Talent,
Horrible.
Academy Awards, these are big things,
Big things.
large, and I've been thrown out of places and living experiences. I've met many guards just recently in Plovdiv, just doing a little honorary piece for the statue violinist in front of the music conservatory. A guard came over and called me a beggar, and it's like I'm a giver, not a beggar. I give. The definition of what I do is giving, not begging, and that reversal of what I'm doing into a taking act is interesting, because I don't know when that started happening. When I first started public performance, I was perceived completely as a giver. It was absolutely what I was, and that's what people
Yes.
spoke to me about.
Yes, and they saw you as a shaman and a mystical helper, and people would come and sit with you
Yeah,
and ask questions and
Ask me about my girlfriend and I are having this blah blah. What do you think, Thoth? And things like that. It was very nice.
yeah, people were respectful towards you.
And then somewhere along the line in the between somewhere after we have been wandering around the world for a bit, something changed and people stopped honoring that which I offer and what I give, and judge it as taking somehow, for some reason.
Or
I wish I knew
begging,
why
or-
that happened.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with social media and online phones and people being fed
Spotify, maybe.
Spotify and music being free, and music is now free. Nobody pays for music. We experienced that over a very, very long period of time of that slowly diminishing and going. Or we couldn't sell CDs. We couldn't sell music.
Nobody asks us about CDs.
Nobody
anymore.
asks us about our music anymore.
Our music changed every time we play it. It's different.
It's always different.
And that's how fertile our love is, that we can express such a different and such passionate melodies constantly.
Even just today, when we were just sitting in the fucking hallway of our apartment building, it has nice acoustics, so we can sing to each other, and it sounds quite lovely. And so we do some pretty stuff.
That's why you record us all the time.
Yeah, because there's always these magical things, and I regret having not recorded every single second of every performance we've given, because in the past I would start and stop stuff because I thought people were not interested. Now I film everything without stopping, and because it's amazing. There's everything that I haven't filmed I've lost, is gone. And it's ironic now that we get the most amount of attention when bad things happen to us, when people attack us, or when we're crying, or when we're really sad about the way the world is. That those things get the most attention on Instagram and YouTube and everything. My music doesn't get much attention at all, and my artwork, that's just, whereas it used to be, our music and everything was getting the most attention because people wanted to listen to it in public spaces, and it's ironic.
It's ironic.
We've gotten older.
It's beautiful. We have we've created these electronica loops, and they're static. They always are the same thing, but whatever we play with them changes always, and we never do the same thing again. And that doesn't go, oh, that's not pretty. It is. It's always pretty. And it's interesting, but it always has the same sense because the loop is there, but it's different.
Well, the loop is very open. It's just 2 chords, sometimes 3 or 4.
And sometimes one.
Sometimes 1.
Sometimes just a drone.
Yeah.
But a drone is exceptional method of holding a static sound while one can express over it.
Express all sorts of
everything.
The simplicity of the loops creates more opportunity for us to be more expressive over the top. If the loops are complicated, then we just get all wrapped up in that.
It forces you to have to do
to focus on it and do certain things.
If something modulates, you have to modulate. You can't stay.
Yeah, you can't like say, "Oh, I'm not going to modulate." So, yeah, that's an interesting thing. But again, because I'm younger and I'm doing the social media thing for us, it is helping us because people are getting to see what's happening, and we're not in a desperate state anymore of being desperate to just survive. So we are in a state now in which we can share the major downs and the major ups of our lives, and I realize how important it is now, and that people do care, and it's really important to share like the really deep down gritty stuff that we go through, because we go through a lot.
Yeah, and one of the things that's interesting me a lot too is that when we left Romania, I went into a purity phase. I do believe that as I move towards death, my purity is really important. So I was confusing that too. That was difficult.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. I went into a major purity thing in the end of Romania at Bucharest.
Yeah.
I stopped everything. At this moment, I feel I'm probably purer in my body regarding all stimulants and various other stimulants and things such as alcohol, etc. Than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, because no drinking, no marijuana, and what's the other
There's
thing?
nothing, coffee.
No coffee. Yeah, and I don't do any of that. Never have. So.
But it's I find it interesting to go on a cleanse like that. And it was I'm not going to do that anymore, and then I stopped. To go on a cleanse like that, for me symbolically, we're talking in the mythic, means something. It's an important step in the processes of evolution.
Yeah. And the other night when you were hyperventilating and crying, you were very much thinking that you had transmuted and purified yourself so you could die, right?
Yeah,
then.
That's exactly true, and I don't know. And that again is the notion of not accomplishing my being duty, not trusting that everything's perfectly laid out.
Yeah, even the
for
most
the devoted
painful
being.
things. Yes, and when you follow your devotion, then everything will unfold for you to do exactly what it is you need to do.
And devotion is connected with love.
Yes, but it's that thing of it's the most difficult to trust when it goes really dark and
when it goes
you
dark.
get harassed by a stranger in the middle of a foreign country and you're all alone.
Yeah.
You go like, oh yeah, that's definitely part of my being duty.
Yeah,
like this is definitely part of my mystical quest of life, of that I'm going to be attacked by someone, and then a few days later called a beggar by a security guard, which just kind of nailed the coffin.
That was not nice for him.
Nail into the coffin. Yeah.
And I can't argue with him. I can't
No,
because he doesn't
speak
understand.
Bulgarian.
I can't speak Bulgarian. But it's interesting, and it's in looking at it now, in the positive mode I'm in right now. It's all very much an initiation for me. Extremely so. I'm absolutely sure of it now.
Yeah. And I think I knew that when
Well, you knew it better. You were more distant from the experience.
But at the same, when I say that I'm not as mystical about things and I'm not as spiritual and metaphysical about things, I am. because I do, even when we're going through the darkest thing, I know that there's a reason, that it's not just, oh, we're just failures at life and we fucked up our lives and we've gone down the wrong path and we're doing something very wrong. I know that there's a reason we're together, there's a reason we go through pain, there's a reason we're in certain cities or countries that we're in, there's a reason we meet certain people, and that the path will be laid very clearly and it will all make sense.
I also, that whole notion of coming to the Thracian Valley, whereas there's an origin, and there is a lot of mystical, a lot of myths concerning music and expression here in a huge way. I mean, some of the most powerful expression myths and creation myths come from this area, and that we're here in this time of purity, time of expression, and
time
struggle and pain. Here is interesting.
Yeah, there's a reason. But I found it very strikingly interesting from my young consciousness of social media and all of that, and the possibility of something going viral. I found it very interesting today when we went and saw our friends at the health food store, and they said, oh, by the way, this post you made has gone viral on whatever that means, but it's people are seeing it and are responding to it. So I found that very interesting, and it really kind of made everything clink together and make sense to me. Of course, my mind's going off into all sorts of very positive things that this could turn into. So are you.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about it.
I'm not going to talk about it because you don't do that.
I'm just playing my happiness.
Playing happiness.
I don't know if you're ready to do this, but I think I'm going to go in my loincloth out to the, on Saturday out to the area.
That spot where and somebody helped us get a permit.
Right, that happened too.
That happened too. Was this woman,
shocking,
amazing, this woman who saw the post of this man harassing us, saw it online, and then saw us playing on the day that this security
she's a tour
guard,
guide, so she knows so much.
She saw this post, and then she was there the day that this security guard called us beggars, and she was there and she helped us. She took us to the municipality building and spoke to everyone in Bulgarian about getting us a permit to play in the old town. And now we have these little permit cards that we can use, and we're going to go see what happens. And,
see what it means.
And because these people have seen these posts, this thing of what happened to us, who knows what will happen from that. It's raining.
See? Told you. I feel the rain.
He has a rain weather vane on his head. Wait. Weather vane head.
You look so pretty. That's interesting place. Wow. Okay. Isn't this one cute? A happy bar and grill again because we really liked it and we're happy. They have good food, they really do. Good time. What's Kitty doing? Kitty. There she goes. Oh boy. Kitty cats come to me.